Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Healthy Dog Workshop podcast. I'm Dr. Lori Koger, and today my exciting guests are Charly and Larry Pruden, coming to us direct from Dubai. They run a holistically oriented pet food and wellness store called Pawdega. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us.
This is so exciting. And, we were all hoping to be together next month. It's going to be a year from next month.
Yeah.
But it is so great. And you, by next year, will be based somewhere in the United States.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely awesome. So tell us about Pawdega. How did it get started?
You wanna?
No, you can.
Okay, so back in 2020, we had to make a decision on during COVID on launching our holistic pet wellness store just to help more animals and make holistic wellness products available and accessible to pet parents here in Dubai. And that's exactly what we did. And we curated some of the best holistic brands in the world and put them on our website. And now we ship internationally from Dubai. And now we also have a base in the United States.
Yeah, so we already launched in the US actually 2 months ago now. So it's pawdega.us for the USA base. And the special thing about our store is that we do not have any products in our store that contain any synthetic ingredients, which is,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's something that we've always been very, very adamant about, no synthetics at all. That's how we raise our dog, and it's something that we raise a lot of awareness about on our YouTube channel. So and it's something we're talking about today, so we're super excited.
Yeah, and synthetics and ultra processed and overly manipulated ingredients are pretty much the norm in so many conventional products. And I know you carry awesome products from our friends like Melissa's at Four Legger or Julianne's Adored Beast products. You stay to that super high quality. Diane, Diane.
Yes.
Yes, she's got it down. And your picture is on the Expo website.
Yes.
With your shirts. I like my pet products like my people, non-toxic.
Exactly.
We live in a toxic world. Sadly. From food to chemicals to candles and air fresheners and cleansers and everything. So every little bit that we can avoid those quality of products, the better.
Yeah, and especially because nowadays it's not just that, it's also that every single product claims to be natural, but when you actually really look at the ingredients, it's not. And there's just so much greenwashing going on. And we were this is also one big reason why we opened Pawdega, is because we go into a pet store and it takes us hours just to figure out what are these ingredients. Is this truly natural? It says natural on the front, but in the back, you don't understand what's inside. So it's really we wanted to create a safe haven where pet parents can come to and they know that every single product has been vetted. So also we don't just bring in all products from a brand. We actually look at every single product and every single ingredient in every single product. So
that is such a good point. And the words natural or organic or
holistic,
they don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
And you guys do the work, and I think of Melissa from Four Legger, where they have the shampoo ingredient database where you can actually look up those unpronounceable words. That is an awesome tool.
And honestly, and I will give Melissa a huge shout out for that, because we definitely utilize that platform as well to look into these grooming products, because we it helps us as humans as well. Like even if I buy a shampoo for myself, I can go check her database and be like, what is this?
It's constantly being updated.
Exactly.
Yeah. It is a fantastic resource. And if you go to the episode I did with her a while back, you'll find the links to that database very easily.
Yeah.
But what a crazy amount of work to go through product after product and say, does this meet the standard that we're setting? Because as
Yeah.
you said, the greenwashing and the deceptive language and downright misinformation that can be put out there is
Yeah. And even going one step above that as well, like we very care very much about how the products are made and how they're sourced as well, how the
Mhm.
ingredients are sourced, because there's so many products, even the ingredients might be natural, but they might be just detrimental to the environment. So
Mhm.
it's really, yeah, it's a lot of work, but we love it, and we're very grateful that we
Well,
are
and
able to help pets.
yeah, and I'm thinking of Dubai and, the other side of the world. I get to work with a lot of people in different countries and parts of the globe, and sometimes sourcing for them of something that we take for granted,
Yes.
Yeah.
a simple probiotic, they
Yeah.
can't get their hands on, or
Yeah.
they look at it, they're like, "Is this a good one?" And I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Most of the time the label's in another language and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ship all over, and you will continue shipping from the Dubai address or Dubai warehouse.
Yes, exactly. So right now from our UAE address or our UAE warehouse, we ship to about probably around 100 countries
Oh, that's
from
fantastic.
this region of the world. And we've been doing that for almost 2 years now, shipping internationally.
And now we also have our warehouse in the USA.
Yeah.
So we ship from there.
So people can go to the pawdega.us site and
Yes.
order. Oh, and they can get a one-time discount from you guys.
Yes.
Yes. So the discount, if you go on our US website, the discount code is called Healthy Dog Expo
In cap locks.
and you get to save 10% off. You said can we comment here or?
Sure, type it in. Go for it. Or one of my team will.
Yeah, I don't see the
I don't see that. If somebody can just type in Healthy Dog Expo, we would be so appreciative.
Go for it, team. And
Thank
all
you so
in capital
much.
letters. There you go.
Yeah.
Diane
so
is over on it, all on it.
Thank you, Diane.
So that code is good till the end of next month, guys.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you can use it. And the nice part about shopping, I'm going to call it a curated store, because that's really what you've done. You've taken that step of researching the products. You've taken that on for us and done it. So that is awesome. Anything you find there is going to meet a very high standard.
Yeah.
So let's talk about synthetics more. I always think of synthetic vitamin minerals mixes and such in pet foods and supplements. What's been your experience in researching that and finding out how to avoid those?
So maybe we should talk about like the reasons of why to avoid it, because something that just gets overlooked so much, I feel, is the fact that like when we feed a food or a synthetic, if we feed a food or a supplement that includes a synthetic, most of the dogs eat the same food every day and maybe even the same supplements every day. So there's going to be this constant exposure to synthetic ingredients on a daily basis, much more than if a human eats something that contains a synthetic ingredient. We usually don't eat the same thing every day. So with our pets, it's much more chronic, the exposure. So with that, there has been recent studies that shows that synthetic supplements are actually contaminated with things like mycotoxins, heavy metals, pesticide residue, and PCBs, which also have been found to be carcinogenic. So again, the long-term exposure of our pets to these contaminants are harmful, obviously. So there's just there's many health risks that come with that. And I don't know, maybe you want to talk
I
about
think like when we start to look at a lot of the ingredients that are found in pet foods and pet supplements. So I'll just give an example, like vitamin B6. So a
Mhm.
lot of the times, vitamin B6 is commonly sourced from petroleum and hydrochloric acid, which can contain formaldehyde, which is like a huge, huge problem on
Huge
its
problem.
own, which has also been found to be carcinogenic. So if your pet is exposed to this, even at safe levels, but over a long period of time where aren't really much research being done, this can cause a problem because formaldehyde again has been found to be a cancer-causing substance in our for humans and can affect our pets as well.
Well, and as you say, the dog eats the same meal every day. And there are dogs that when I'm working in the clinic, the owners will say, yes, I've been feeding, we'll say Acme pet food,
Hmm.
the chicken formula for all his life.
Yeah,
So, I
Mhm.
mean, we could be talking about 5 years, 10 years of
yeah,
eating the same crap.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
And you know, like,
it's just crazy.
it is, and also like, and that was just one example of like sourcing, but then you
Mhm.
have another part of the sourcing of which like these ingredients are being sourced from genetically modified ingredients such as soy and corn, and we know that especially in the United States, over 90% of corn and soy are genetically modified. So that's again your dog or your pet being exposed to more genetically modified ingredients, especially you might be under the belief that you are feeding something that's supposed to be really great, but then in reality, you're actually feeding something that can
Mhm.
um, increase the exposure to genetically modified ingredients from corn, which we know is exposed to herbicides such as glyphosate,
Life is
which is like it's just like a huge, huge
Yeah.
round problem for us as humans and our pets, right? Because humans are also exposed to these
of
synthetic
course.
ingredients.
And this is also just to show again, like that one word that it will say on the ingredient list, vitamin E, seems so harmless, but then there's this
Yeah,
whole background
this
thing
whole
that goes
background,
on.
and
Yeah.
it's not even, the additional point. Some of these synthetic and manipulated nutrients are not used the same way in the body. They're not absorbed at the same rate.
Exactly.
They're not a replacement for food driven in nutrients. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that is definitely like one of the big things as well. Like the whole food nutrients, they come with all their
Mhm.
co-nutrients and all their cofactors, which make
Right,
them also more bioavailable. So the natural whole food sources of the vitamins and minerals, they're just
much
much more
better,
bioavailable and
much better.
compared to the
Yeah.
synthetics as well.
Janet has an
So
interesting question here. Did you see this? I My geography is so bad. What's the agriculture situation like in Dubai?
it's a
Well,
good question.
it's very, very dry.
Mhm.
It's we don't have so basically how the UAE works and much of the Middle Eastern countries surrounding us is everything is pretty much imported. So most of our fruits and vegetables are imported. We do have with technology growing, we do have geez,
Some organic farms here as
yeah,
well
we have
now.
some organic farms, but for the most part,
Mhm.
most of the foods are going to be imported. We don't have cows here.
No.
There are some factory farms that house chickens,
Mhm.
but for the most part, if you want like really, really healthy stuff, you're gonna be getting imported food.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
what a challenge.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which makes everything more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and when I think about, essentially a desert environment, or whatever the technical term is. I mean,
Mhm.
just water is probably a challenge every day.
Yeah, I mean, the UAE is an incredible country, honestly. Like they have so much technology. So a lot of
Yes.
the water here is going to be reverse osmosis. So
Mhm.
they have this technology where it seems that is we don't have any issues with water. It seems like,
Really?
but yeah, really,
That's great.
it's
I mean, I've heard of the technology, and you see photos of the city, and it's beautiful.
yeah,
Mhm.
It's amazing.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but Janet is full of questions. How hard is it to feed
Bring 'em on.
a fresh diet? Bring them on, he says. Hard
How
to
hard
feed
is it
a
to
diet?
feed a fresh?
Yeah.
Well,
Are you saying in Dubai or in general?
Oh, good
I'm
answer.
assuming that
Good
this is
answer.
a Dubai related
I think she's
question.
talking about in the UAE.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look, thankfully, we are here now. So we actually import frozen raw food from the United Kingdom from
Beautiful.
our friends Paleo Ridge, and
Mhm.
we carry the only 100% pasture raised raw pet food in
Wow.
the UAE. So yeah, our standards are very, very high, as we already
That's,
spoke about. It's
yeah.
important. Before our presence, we just didn't have that, and it's very important that we wanted to stick to sustainability. It comes in paper packaging, but
Mhm.
the availability is here, so it's definitely not hard. I mean,
Not anymore.
not
And
anymore.
also, with that being said, we also have Paleo Ridge is the only raw food that is available in Dubai that is actually 100% synthetic free.
Oh, wow.
So, which is actually another thing, talking about synthetic nutrients and, the fact that like, everything is supposed to be natural, but it's not. So,
Mhm.
synthetic nutrients in raw diets are something that actually is very like common as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, anyone who's watching who wants to feed a raw diet and doesn't want to feed synthetics, definitely have a look at the ingredients as well. Because,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
We have various companies. Most people will use the term commercial raw, and
Mhm.
some of them will be formulated to one of the nutritional standards.
Yeah.
Others will not. But then you'll see a vitamin mineral premix.
Yeah.
And,
yes,
vitamin mineral premixes are a one size fits all solution in general. And
Hmm.
so, and most of them are made for kibble. So why in the world would you take a vitamin mineral premix for a kibble that's 90% dry, that's 40% starch, and then say, oh, well, that will fix and balance out a fresh food diet that
Yeah.
is protein and fat focused? It makes no
exactly.
sense, but
Yeah,
it just gets dumped in there.
yeah,
Hmm.
And then
exactly.
my clients get mad when I say I would not use brand X if it's got a vitamin mineral premix. It was clearly designed by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to fresh food feeding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so frustrating, honestly, because yeah, the marketing of just pet products in general, it's just getting so misleading, and it's
Mhm.
it's so hard for pet parents to
Oops.
to like figure it out,
Yeah.
if that's not your daily job to do like us.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but yeah,
and, you know, even the average client here, they don't have time to do the research. They may
Hmm.
not have the science background and knowledge that you have to really dive deep, and they
Yeah.
get frustrated very quickly and overwhelmed. So to
exactly.
have a curated shop like yours is just phenomenal.
Hmm.
Yeah. Janet had a question. We talked about it a little bit, but she is asking, are synthetic nutrients really bioavailable to the body? Because they're not the same. So we talked about it a little bit already, but yeah, they're not as bioavailable,
Mhm.
um,
Yes.
as the real whole foods, which is actually something that also we deal with a lot at Pawdega, because we get a lot of pets who are like, we always want to focus on proactively helping pet parents prevent certain health conditions. So yeah, a lot of our content is about prevention, but we have it on a daily basis. People get in touch with us because their dogs have allergies or skin disease or all types of things. So whenever you're trying to address a certain health concern with pet supplements, definitely it's going to be so much more effective to use a whole food source than a synthetic ingredients, because of the bioavailability of these supplements as well. And there's even a study that has shown that vitamin E, natural vitamin E, is absorbed twice as efficiently as synthetic vitamin E. So,
well, and that's not even considering in, let's say, in a kibble product, or even a fresh food, how stable those synthetics are and how stable the rest of the food is through prolonged storage and through exposure.
Yeah,
so
which is a very good point.
It's like, well, we have fat soluble vitamins, but the fat is all rancid. How is that affecting it?
Exactly.
And it just you can make yourself crazy thinking about it, I'm sure, but you've got to, because this is a serious sort of thing. Anyway,
and what I think about is, like, Charly and I, we really got into this because we want to help animals, right? So, and then we started looking at, like, some of, like, the most severe animals, because a lot of people came to us for help. They see that we speak to people like you and Julianne Lee and so many other holistic professionals, and we started looking at, like, the diet and everything that surrounds the animals, and we try to focus on, like, what are these pets being exposed to, right? So, like, okay, they're eating a raw food diet, but, like, what is really still affecting them? Just because a raw food diet doesn't fix everything, right? Correct. So then we have to start looking more, at, like, what are the ingredients in this thing? Wait a minute, how is this made? You're telling me that this contains heavy metals. Okay, like, it's because it causes so many, or it can cause so many other health conditions within our animals, that we really have to look deep into everything that our pets are being exposed to. And I think it is something that really goes unnoticed, because when you hear the word vitamins, you think automatically, this is good, when in reality, it's not necessarily actually really good.
Well, and it may be present in excess, or it may be a false sense of security, and there's not enough, say, vitamin B in there.
Yeah.
And you think you got it covered, and you haven't.
Yeah.
So in the UAE, what is the dog owning population? Are dogs really popular? Is it a niche market?
It's a really, really great question. So the UAE is 90% foreigners, so people that come from other places. And I would say the Western population here, I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, honestly, but I would say it's a good chunk of the population. And I would say mostly the Westerners will have pets. I can only really speak for our customers, or the people that shop with us. It's mostly Westerners. What would you say? Yeah, but I would say for the most part, I mean, it's definitely going to be percentage-wise much less than the US.
Yeah. And dogs, cats, what's more popular?
Dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs.
I mean, for us anyway. Our
dog centric, but
dog centric. Yeah.
Because in the US, I mean, cats are really taking over. And you want to try to get the cat to eat raw food. That's
I know.
And in terms of veterinary options there, do you have many holistically minded vets? Do they work with you, or What do you
Um,
So it's another reason actually why we opened Pawdega.
Yes.
yeah.
So we have no holistic veterinarians, or it's tricky, honestly. We have veterinarians that call themselves holistic,
Hmm.
but they're not actually holistic.
Yeah.
We have that
So
too.
yeah, so we have that issue here. So we have naturally minded vets,
Hmm.
which is a great place to be, where you have someone that can actually support you and willing to work with the products that we have. So we do have that in the UAE,
Yeah,
but it took time to really
Yeah.
get to that level.
our products are also stocked in a holistic vet clinic. So, no,
Okay.
sorry, not a holistic
Mhm.
vet, a vet clinic that we
That's
work
it.
with.
Yeah,
So that's really amazing. Yeah. So
that
it's
that
becoming
really
more.
is. Well,
Yeah,
and I mean, you're out there opening minds is my hope,
for sure. I
and
mean, yeah,
exposing people to stuff they haven't thought of before.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. I
And oh
mean,
my gosh, do you
for
see we got a thumbs up thing on the screen? I don't know where that came from. It just popped up.
But
Um,
Janet is asking a lot of good questions. She's asking, many people aren't sure how to read a food label. Can you tell us how you know vitamins are synthetic and what pet owners should look for?
Yeah,
This is an
great,
amazing question. Yes.
great question. So
So, do you want to
no, no,
say
you got it, you
that?
got it, you got it,
we got it.
So yeah, for sure, like this is the, the most important thing. It's there are a few different ways in which you can actually determine if your pet food or supplement has synthetic ingredients in it. So of course, we're gonna have to look at the ingredient list. If an ingredient on the ingredient list starts with the prefix DL, so DL, then that will be highly likely synthetic.
Yes.
And then if the ingredient ends with ate or "ide," it will also highly likely be a synthetic.
Hmm.
And
Like
then
copper sulfate, for example.
yeah.
exactly. Um, if the nutrients are listed as like individuals, so like for example, vitamin C, then you'll just have to get in touch with the manufacturer and ask some more questions and figure out where that ingredient came from and what the source is. And just a heads up, don't always like companies will probably just try and brush you off with a
Mhm.
yes answer. So you might have to do some more digging and just ask more questions because as a consumer, you definitely deserve to know what you're feeding your pet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you see all of those vitamins and minerals in a group, that's
Hmm.
another dead giveaway that it's a vitamin mineral premix. And 90% of that is going to be synthetic, if not more.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too.
Because they just start listing, oh, vitamin B12, be this, be that, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Special nutrient mix is also a good one.
Oh, that is. And you know what I love is when they say preserved with alpha tocopherol, and then it'll say
Yeah.
parentheses vitamin E or something, or a source of chondroitin or a source of glucosamine. And it's like it's not a therapeutic level. It's not even
Hmm.
a supplemental level. It's a marketing gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
expect a consumer to weed through all that is really unfair, I think.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah. And I just, sorry.
what product categories are the most popular in at Pawdega? What are people coming in for most often?
This
So
is so interesting.
yeah.
So right now, like, because our both of our stores in the US and our store here in the UAE, our UAE store, and maybe it might only be because our US store is just growing. But our store here in Dubai, I would say allergies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
So
the number
is
one
is
thing.
the number one thing that we deal with in our store. So And how we go about it is usually through pre and probiotics, raw food. That's pretty much how we go about supporting
Detox. Yeah.
pets.
And then in the US, our like almost every order that we get is joint related. So yeah, we've had a IVDD episode with our French Bulldog last year, and we've shared a lot about that. And we've done a ton of content on like joint health. And when our Frenchie had the IVDD injury, we were actually able to heal her 100% naturally under also the guidance of a vet or the supervision of a vet to make sure that she's okay. And we managed it 100% naturally. So we shared that. And a lot of pet parents are coming to us with help for joint related concerns. So prevention and also, support for ongoing issues.
That's interesting that in the US, there's such a focus on joint support.
Yeah.
And I think of well, the number of dogs on dog food getting vaccinated probably much more frequently than your population over there. There's a lot more chemicals and such used. I wonder if it has to do with just the general level of inflammation in the body. US versus UAE.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's there's so many interesting things, honestly, like with opening the store in the US and having the store in the UAE for the past 3 or 4 years now. It's so many so different.
Yeah. But it also, seeing those differences also really helps you kind of think outside the box and, what are the reasons why this is happening.
For sure. Yeah.
Things so differently.
Yeah.
We're seeing so many cruciate ligament injuries here.
Yeah.
It seems to be the number one thing of lame dogs.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll see 3 a week, which is a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a lot.
It is a lot. And, they're usually big dogs. So you're talking about, a TPLO or a TTA procedure, which involves bone plates and cutting bones and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like let's say an 80-pound golden retriever. It's probably a $4,000 surgery around my neck of the woods.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's so scary.
It's really scary. And I do think a lot of it has to do with, early spay neuter and other ways we manage our dogs. Are dogs routinely spayed and neutered in the UAE?
Yes, I would say
so. Unfortunately, also at a very, very young age. We have a French Bulldog, and unfortunately, we also spayed her too early. But fortunately, we got into the reason why we started Pawdega is obviously our Frenchie Milka, but she was sick as a puppy, and we just kept having to go to the vet. And long story short, we switched to raw, and our whole life changed, her life and our life, and it kickstarted this whole journey of looking into herbs for detox and probiotics for gut health and immunity and all of that. And with that also came the joint health aspect of, starting with homeopathy to support joint health and all these things. So I truly, truly believe last year she was 7 years old and she had that IVDD injury, and it was so mild. And I truly believe it's because of all of the years of prevention that we have done with her. That included, of course, the raw diet. It included supplements on a daily basis, but it also included exercise and not jumping and, going to the ocean, swimming, things like that. So it's truly the holistic approach. We can't just say it's that one thing.
Right.
But
it's living the good life all the ways around.
Yeah.
And you know, I see Debbie, both of Deb's dogs who were raw fed had CCL tears. And certainly, you know, diet isn't the only reason why dogs do or don't. But
Yeah.
you were able to use conservative management, which in my world involves rehabilitation, underwater treadmill, laser, therapeutic exercise,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
some acupuncture, chiropractic. There's so many other approaches. And, you know, you guys are a conduit to those resources for people. But I am sorry, Deb, to hear. I wish a cruciate tear on no one, because
Yeah.
it is a lot to manage and a lot
Yeah.
to recover from, without a doubt.
Yeah. Oh.
So going back to the synthetics and food, what are your favorite food sources for key nutrients? Like, how can we avoid synthetics? You know, say we want to get manganese in or something like that, you know, for a
Yeah.
specific nutrient. Got any favorites?
So, like, our favorite in general is feeding a raw food diet with
Mhm,
lots and lots of variety, and like feeding pasture raised meats,
mhm,
um, because they just pasture raised meats. We've got a bunch of YouTube content on that as well. Like, it just, there's such a big difference of the nutrient profile between cage-free, free range, and pasture raised meats.
right,
So just that, like, that's our favorite way. But then also, of course, like incorporating things like fur, right?
mhm.
And things like, yeah, just that our pets and dogs would eat on if we didn't interfere.
If we didn't interfere, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll use things like for manganese, I'll use mussels or shellfish.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, novel ingredients depending on what you have access to.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
even if somebody's in a bind and only has access to canned sardines, they can get
Hmm.
a natural form of vitamin D
Yeah,
and some good omega-3s that way.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
so true. I mean, like, I would say that when we're thinking about vitamins and minerals, it doesn't have to be complicated, you know.
Mhm.
So I just think that if we can, treat nature as if we like not interfering it with nature through all these methods of chemicals and genetically modified ingredients, because
Mhm.
all we're doing is just kind of manipulating the body. So if we can try to stick to like pasture raised or organic eggs,
Right.
like these are nutrient dense organ meats, these are
Mhm.
where vitamins and minerals are found in the whole food form.
Right. And with, I'm gonna call it a synergistic effect of all the
Hmm.
other things that are in, say, that chicken liver, that
Yeah.
Exactly.
other nutrients be absorbed effectively.
Hmm.
Uh,
Exactly.
that if they're eating bone, yes, they're getting the proper ratio of calcium to phosphorus to
Yeah.
magnesium. And then we don't
Mhm.
have to worry about how much do we put in the sprinkle in mineral mix.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's that, and also this is something that we hear a lot as well. Like, why should I feed my dog supplements? I'm feeding a complete and balanced meal, right? So
Right,
for us personally, we actually don't feed our dog supplements to meet nutritional requirements per se. We feed our dog functional supplements to support certain yeah, certain
Areas of health.
areas of health. Exactly. So we
yeah,
feed like detoxing herbs to support organ health, liver,
mhm,
kidney. Synergistically, we feed probiotics to support gut health and immunity, and we feed superfoods and antioxidants
mhm,
to help prevent cancer. So
yeah.
it's like
I
it's
love
just
that term functional supplements,
yeah.
Hmm.
because that really zones in on why we're doing these things.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
I had to laugh, a, cancer specialist, an veterinary oncologist that I follow just because she bugs me sometimes. is now promoting the latest supplement, which is from Nutramax Labs, who produce Cosequin and Dosequin joint support products, among others. And this magical supplement contains sulforain, which, did you know, is very important in the prevention of bladder cancer. Well, for how many years has Rodney been talking about the benefits of broccoli because of the sulforain that it contains? Now, now conventional medicine, because this oncologist is extremely conventional, and very much into promotional marketing for supplementing income. And yes, I said that. Now we've got it in a bottle in a supplement. Why in the world would you do that when you can go to your favorite grocery store, pick out a high quality broccoli crown, chop it up, and put it in your dog's bowl?
Exactly.
And whether you choose to feed it fresh, raw, and just finely chopped, or you choose to steam it a little bit, as long as it's sitting around in the chopped up state for, I think, 30 minutes, you will get peak sulforain absorbed. And it's so much easier.
Yeah.
So much better.
And when you're feeding foods, especially foods like this, you're not only getting the benefit of that one thing. Like it's usually always coming with other benefits, and things that we're not even thinking about, like antioxidants and all these phytonutrients that, again, like you spoke about it earlier, like it's all synergistically working together. It's not just like, here's this one vitamin and that's it. Like you're getting a complete array of nutrients that are doing so many different things.
And I think many supplement companies, especially in the more conventional side, are just honed into that lone ingredient. We have a concentrated source of this component. That may be great, but synergy is much more important, in my opinion, than just having a highly concentrated source of whatever component.
Yeah.
Oh, and Diane brings up also sprouts.
Yeah.
Good for us, good for our dogs, and easy to grow on your counter. You can pop onto Amazon and get the little sprout kit, and off you go.
That was the big takeaway of Healthy Dog Expo last time.
Yeah. Everybody, the sprout thing. I was a kid. I don't know if you guys remember Chia Pets.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Chia.
Those were sprouts. And we all had our little ceramic, whatever animal it was.
Yeah.
We stepped on it and watched it sprout and trimmed it off. But anybody can grow them, even if you're 7 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd want to eat off the Chia Pet, but I don't think that would be good. I'm sure the clay is loaded with chemicals, but very easy to do, and things that pretty much anybody living in any part of the world can do to upgrade their pets' pets' food.
Yeah.
Diane loves sprouts.
Janet has another question. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so many people I speak to are so afraid to feed their pups a fresh diet. What words of wisdom can you share to help encourage those that are too afraid to ditch the kibble?
That's a really great question.
Yeah. The number one thing
you deal with all the time, I imagine.
Yes, exactly. So the number one thing I always say is just start small. Just start by adding a tiny bit in. Like there are studies coming from Helsinki, right, that are saying as little as 20% raw can already dramatically decrease disease markers in pets. So if you can only feed 20% raw and the rest is dry food, just start with that.
Right.
And because most of the times once pet parents see the little benefits that alone can give, they'll get more confident with time and they'll add more and more. So yeah, that's my number one biggest thing. What would you say?
Milk is snoring.
Do you hear our dog snoring?
Only a Frenchie. Only a Frenchie.
I would say people that are afraid to switch to a raw food diet, because again, we do have a lot of people that do not want to feed raw, especially in our store. We have like a lot of people that actually do feed kibble. I would say what Charly said, feed as little as 20%, but then also do things like just simply rehydrating your food, right? Like just add some water or bone broth or goat milk to the raw food, and excuse me, to the kibble. And rehydration is also important. Then I would probably say add some supplements, digestive enzymes.
Yeah.
Because once you start to see the improvements, then hopefully you'll want to, start having a look in other different areas and where you can improve the diet and thus improve the health of your animals. So that's probably something I would say. And yeah, definitely add as much as you can, just small amounts. Take baby steps.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all in at the very first time.
Yeah, I think people feel overwhelmed, and the 20% approach they can wrap their mind around. Or, I'll have people, and I'll say, how about just add an egg, or a bit of whatever you're going to make for yourself, trim a little piece off, and don't forget the veggies.
Yeah,
because fruits and vegetables, while the prey model feeders feel they aren't indicated, anybody who's looking at the microbiome knows that they're needed.
Yes.
And, fruits, veggies, whatever fiber source you choose, very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say also maybe starting with a pre-made raw, like a commercial raw diet, instead of feeling like you need to do DIY. Because DIY is like a whole nother range, and that might scare you alone. So depending on where you're coming into this from, I would probably say if you start there, that's a great place. It's already done for you. And then you can do 20% of that if you want.
Yeah, and looking at something like the Paleo Ridge, looking at those ingredients and such. Yeah, a spoonful, just a spoonful. I'm always blown away by how many people will buy a can of dog food, which is really gross. And if you've ever opened one up, just the stench. But they will pay $3 for a 12-ounce can of dog food, and put a tablespoon on their dog's food every meal, when they really could be just using some of the meat and veggies from their own meals at a third of the cost. And quality, of course, it's human quality versus what's in the canned food.
Yeah.
I happened to be doing some field testing on some foods today just before we signed on, and my house reeks. I opened up one can. It's awful. I had to put it in the garage. It's like it's going out to the trash when we wrap up. But I can't believe that people put that in the refrigerator with stuff. It's just awful.
Yeah, sometimes we have to, like through our content creation, we also have to work with kibble and stuff like that. And we're like, it smells like the scent is so strong, and anyway.
I also had a kibble today, and I opened it was sent to me in a Ziploc bag. I opened the bag, and it's like I took 3 steps back. It was foul, and I don't know if it's the sprayed on rendered fat or the palatants that make that stench. My dogs were very interested in it, which made me say it was the palatants, but it smelled spoiled. And I know it wasn't technically like food safety wise. I know it wasn't spoiled.
Yeah.
But comparing that to putting fresh raw in the bowl or even cooked, whether DIY or commercial, it's a whole different world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
funny enough, the dogs usually always choose the raw first
Yeah,
if you give them the choice.
they will.
Yeah.
They will. Oh, this is a good point. Diane is alluding to storage. Diane runs a small boarding kennel. And what do? They dump the food out into plastic. And, and then you're handling this stuff. You're handling the microplastics. You're handling the food.
Yeah.
And these dogs are eating this every meal, every day of their life.
Yeah. And then you have to wash your whole hand because your hand went into
and the whole entire bag.
Your whole arm, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, and whatever, and I always preach this, whatever commercial product you're feeding, keep a hold of that bag that has the lot number and expiration date. So if, God forbid, there is a problem with the food, you can say, oh, I need to be concerned, or no, I did not get affected product. And especially kibble feeders, the first thing they want to do is dump it out of the bag into some sort of storage container that's usually plastic.
Yeah.
And a true food grade plastic would be several $100s for a storage container. So most people don't choose those.
Yeah. I think for anyone that is watching and they are feeding kibble, I would probably say keep it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then do not buy these. I mean, unless you have a dog that is actually eating this amount of food, try to buy the smaller bags, just so it can be fresher for
Steve Brown says you can count on the fat in the bag being rancid within 2 weeks in kibble. So yeah, do not buy the giant economy size unless you're going to burn through it in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that was our digression into kibble, guys. Thanks for going with us. So back to Pawdega before we wrap up, as we're coming up on the top of the hour. What are your 3, let's say, favorite or most popular products? Would you say we already covered joint support, so we know joint support is number 1. What's number 2?
Yeah,
I would say there's 3 areas of health that I really love to focus on and that we try to help our customers with. I would say something for gut health. So that's usually a pre and probiotic, just because over 80% of the immune system lays in the gut. Right. I think that it's a really, really great place to work with, just because it covers so many different areas of health: brain, joints, helping to reduce inflammation, supporting skin health and immunity, so much more.
Yeah.
That's the number 1 for us.
And our favorite product would probably be within that category, Phytosflora by Adored Beast, but we do rotate through all of the probiotics from Adored Beast, because they're also amazing. And then the second category that we always recommend taking a closer look at is liver and kidney health. So gentle herbs, combination herbs we prefer, because we want to support the liver and the kidney synergistically together. So that we use a lot of the liver tonic, for example, or face cleanse and detox from Augustine Approved. And then the third thing would be antioxidants. We mentioned it earlier already, for cancer prevention, and just overall health. And again, we rotate with that. So we'll use phytosynergy, for example.
Mushrooms.
We'll use the chaga mushroom tincture or turkey tail mushrooms. So those 3.
That sounds excellent. And as we've mentioned, and if you scroll up in the comments, you'll see the promo code Healthy Dog Expo for a discount at pawdega.us. So you can get your stuff and support Larry and Charly. Well, this has been great, guys. I've enjoyed chatting with you and hearing about all the differences, and wow.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
You guys have been on.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that we would have been on this journey, honestly. Like, we started our journey as just an Instagram page for our dog, and then we're like, wait a minute, there's so much more to this like stuff. Yeah.
But I think that's how everybody starts, you know, because I always ask people, you know, how did you set foot on this path?
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, well, there was this dog.
Yeah.
And we've all had that dog in our life, which is what, you know, what brings us together. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time. And I look forward to seeing you at Healthy Dog Expo 2025.
Yay.
We'll be back in the US, based in the US, but still supporting Europe.
Yes, exactly.
Taking over the globe.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time as well. And thank you everyone who's watching. And we hope to see you guys in person soon.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.
Bye.